Hi folks, this is Hector Garcia, CPA and Advanced QuickBooks Pro Advisor. I offer fixed rate services to my clients, not hourly rate services. And one of the tools that I use to do that is this spreadsheet. Okay, this is my template spreadsheet. I use this to build all the items of conversation I had with my customer about what they needed and what they didn't need, or maybe some of the things that they wanted but they have to pay a little bit extra for. I actually lay this all out into this spreadsheet, which when I try to print, it shows up into just one page. So it's a one-page scope and price spreadsheet template that makes it really, really easy and really professional to present fixed rate services to my customers. I'm going to get back into the spreadsheet and can explain to you how it works. But first, I'd like to speak about some fundamentals around how we get to the point where we decide what do we offer, how much we charge, and what are the areas of conversation we need to focus in to get data from our client to understand what they prioritize. So let's start with how do we offer fixed price services, for example, for accounting, tax, or software implementation. So the first thing you're going to do is have a deep conversation with your customer. Try to understand what they really need. Don't take their self-diagnosis, right? Understand why are they coming to you, why they need you to solve that problem for them, and how valuable it would be for that problem to be solved. Second, understand your client's priorities. They always ask for everything, right? We want to be able to separate everything they ask for between this is something they need, this is something they want, and this is something that they just desire. It's sitting in a wish list somewhere. So you want to be able to prioritize them, because when you offer your customer 3 services, all the fundamental stuff, like all the basic needs, that's going to be on the lowest price service, and something with a lot of wants and a lot of wish lists, that should be in a higher price service, because obviously they're asking more from us. They want us to do more work and they're expecting bigger or more valuable results. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to offer a fixed rate, not an hourly rate ever, but we're actually going to offer 3 services, 3 packages, or 3 prices. Each of these services will be priced differently because they will vary based on options. These options are going to be actual differences in the scope of work, actual differences in the service delivery, and or actual differences on the results that we're guaranteeing. In some cases, you can offer the exact same service and give 3 prices because you're changing the deadlines. Or you can offer the exact same service and you give 3 prices because you're changing the specific person within your organization that will be doing the work. Or maybe you can offer the exact same service because you're changing the payment terms, giving client more flexibility or less flexibility in payments. But in many ways, we also may change the specific scope of the work or the results we're going to guarantee at the end. We're going to deep dive into those. So when we offer options, the options are going to be broken down into 3 categories. We're going to have the scope options. This is mostly the inputs. What is the type of work that we'll be doing? What are we going to be responding to? What's the data entry? What type of documents we'll be receiving and processing? That's the scope options. Then we have the service delivery options that really just changes the experience, how the customer experiences the services that we provide. And then lastly, the results options, which is what they get out of what we do. What is the outcome? What are the guarantees? So in the scope options, we have transaction level details. We're going to get into the details of that. We have tangential services. Under service delivery, we have training, we have terms, we have timing, we have tailoring, we have technology, we have team or talent, and then we have travel or unreimbursed expenses. As you can tell, they all start with T. These are called the 12 T's, so it makes it easier to remember. And on the results options, we have transformation, we have termination, and then we have transfer of risk. So the first one is transaction level detail. This is the scope of work. What are we actually going to be doing? How many transactions? Are we going to be classifying them? Are we going to be splitting expenses? Are we going to be job costing? How complex is the chart of accounts? All the things that affect every single input point that we do. The second one's going to be the tangential services. So after we understand the scope of the work, which pretty much is 80% of what we do, there's always that 20% lingering out there that is tangential. It's like an extra service, an out of scope service, something that wasn't talked about in the first conversation. So how do we manage tangential services, or what is included or excluded beyond a scope of work that we talked about in the first place? Then we have training, which means how much knowledge are we transferring? Is the customer expecting us to train them, to tell them what they did wrong? Do they also want support as part of the service? Then we have terms, which could be payment terms. It could be how they pay. It could be when they pay. Then we have the timing or turnaround time, which is how quickly will we start the work? How quickly will we finish the work? How quickly will we respond to emails? How quickly will we respond to phone calls? Then we have tailoring. Do we have to adjust our processes to match customers' requirements? In many ways, this has to do with procedures, maybe the time of the day that we're going to work, or how many hoops we have to jump through to get a piece of information because the customer doesn't want to use our portal or something like that. Then we have technologies, our client using old, slow technology. Are they forcing us to stay within their technology? Are they taking our recommendation for better technology? Are they working with desktop, on the cloud? Is there a lot of security, a lot of nuance around accessing our client's information? So that would be the technology section. Then we have team or talent, which is who does the client have access to throughout the engagement? Who is the person who's signing the return? Who is the person that's in charge of communicating with the client? And how often would that customer have access to them? Then we have travel or unreimbursed expenses, which is, do we have to incur expenses, direct expenses as part of this project? Are we paying for it? Is the client reimbursing us for it? Then transformation is about what transformative results are we going to generate? How are these results going to be measured? What does the client look like after we're done? What does success look like? How do we measure success? That would be the transformation portion. Termination is how quickly or how easily can the client cancel the services? Do we refund their services? Do we guarantee the results and therefore the customer has the right to get their money back? How much of the money can they get back? What are those terms of cancellation? And lastly, transference of risk. Are we taking on clients' risk in their behalf? Are we taking away risks? Are we taking the risk that if we screw up, we have to pay for our mistake, or if the client screws up, we have to pay for their mistakes? So what's really valuable is that you have a conversation with your client that touches all of these or most of these, so we understand if the client finds any of these valuable, more valuable or less valuable, if we do work in a certain way, if we guarantee our results, if they're looking for different results, that sort of thing. Based on that, we have one tab in which we have everything presented. Each of the services will have a name. It would have a subtitle as well, which is an additional description. You would change the logo, obviously, with your own logo. You will type in your price, right? You can come up with whatever price you want. There really is no formulas behind how these prices work. You're going to choose based on the package or the service, whether any of these lines of scope or features are going to be included or excluded. So it all follows the same methodology. There's a second tab in which I have a lot of these written down, mostly for brainstorming, so you can copy and paste, see, which of these makes sense to you. You probably want to customize this and add some of the specific things that you do in your firm or you don't do. It won't be the same as mine. Add them into the database so you have one place where you can access those options quickly. And there's also a printable worksheet, which is really useful for you to print. It's a one page. Maybe you can use it to write some notes as you're talking with your client and thinking through what they need. Maybe think, hey, it looks like the small package will have, this type of payment term, and you just write it down in there. And the best package will have this different type of payment terms. You don't have to use this, but this is a really good sort of handwritten exercise that you can do before you go back into the spreadsheet and create your final presentation. Then at the end, you're going to take this spreadsheet. You can print it in two ways. You can print just the highest option by itself. And when I print, that will show up in one page. You always want to offer the highest option by itself. So it creates an anchor. And this is going to include all the stuff the client wants, right? All their wants, all their needs, all the wish lists, everything that would be the best case scenario if your client can't afford you, you will offer this. This will be the best possible service you can do for your client. And then you're going to offer 2 other options that are lesser value, a little bit less work, more restrictive, and the client can use within context. They can choose what they find most valuable. We are not nudging our clients towards the highest option, not nudging them towards the lowest or the middle. We're letting our clients choose. Let the client pay more if they want more. Let them miss out in some features and some of the value components if they want to pay less. And then it gives the client good context in terms of what is the worst case scenario, best case scenario type of service looks like with you. Anyway, this spreadsheet I do sell. So it's $50. You can click on the description below to go straight to it. You're going to get just an Excel file with this information. And hopefully if you get it, you can quickly adapt it for your own practice. And hopefully you get your money back on the first deal you close with your next client.